Alright guys, so I'm just going to show you how I will set up an adult enclosure. The gecko going in here is about 38 grams, it's still not full grown. He just came out of quarantine because I got him about a few weeks ago. So I'm going to move him in his adult enclosure. Now, what I got here is this Sterilite bin, 54 quarts, 22.5 inches by 16 by 12 and 3/4 tall. This, in my opinion, is a perfect size for one adult, and also if you don't use, like a front opening cage, and you'd rather use something like this. So what I have right here is a vent I put in there for ventilation. This is the front of the enclosure, so that way when it's stacked up on the rack, instead of opening the lid to spray it, I could just spray it right through here and get everything. Now on the sides, there's more ventilation holes on each side, and then on the back, as long as with something like this, as long as you don't overdo it with the water, you'll be fine. Now I just washed this out, so that's why there's water like all over the sides there, but I'll let it dry out before I end up spraying him again. And I already threw what I like to use in these type of setups is paper towels, and I've also used mulch before, but just for this case I'm going to use these paper towels. I already sprayed them, and I was messing around with cork bark in here, that's why there's little specks of dirt already on there. So I lay in my paper towels first thing, damp them, so that way they aren't sliding around at all. Now all I'm going to do in here, grab a couple things. So keep in mind, if you use natural substrate, your cork bark, stuff like that you put in there, it will work a lot better because it's not going to slide around as much. So if you're using paper towels, you have to make sure that whatever you're putting in there is stable, because the last thing you'd ever want is you to move it around, it falls over and injures your animal. So what I have here is just a cork tube. These are my favorite. I love using cork tubes because it gives them an extra hiding spot that they can go in there. And a lot of times if you do offer them a cork tube, they'll pretty much be hanging out inside or on the side of it at all times. And I try to place it in these type of bins some way, going up, so that way you can climb up and down it. And if you guys ever want good priced cork bark, my suggestion, go in Pangea and go order their bulk cork bark, because you can get 5 pounds. It's about $50–60 shipped. So you can get 5 pounds of cork tubes for $50–60, which is probably like 5 of these pieces. I'd say this is probably about a pound. So you can get 5 of these for $50–60. That beats buying them singly. So what I'm going down here, this is the front of the enclosure. So I like to basically split it up 50-50, 50%, things that climb around, 50% open space. And I like to put stuff in the back, because if I'm going to be, that's going to be against the wall. So that way he has, he's going to feel more secure in there, because there's not going to be like people walking by or anything on that side, only on this side. So I'm just going to first place it down. I try to find like, a good angle on there, but it looks like, see, this is the only downside to paper towels. When you're placing it in there, you can see they move around a little bit, so you just have to be careful. Place it right on there. Okay, you see, now that right there, that's secure in there. It's not gonna slide because it's pressed up against that side and that side. Like I said, you won't have this much of an issue if you use actual substrate on there, like mulch or cocoa bark or something like that. So I got that in there. I like how that is, so that way he can hang out inside, he can come out on top and sit up there. Second thing I'm gonna add is a fake plant. So I'm just gonna lay it up on here. So basically what I'm looking for is to provide him some hiding areas. So he can be out on open if he wants to right here, but then right under here, see, he's gonna have the wall right here. He's gonna have the leaf cover on top. So if he doesn't want to be inside the cork tube, he can hang out right in the back there on it. And he still has his little space. So that's what I'm thinking when I'm putting this stuff together. Now I also have another piece. Like I said, I try to get about 50% coverage on here. Here's a piece of his cork tube from his quarantine enclosure. So all I'm gonna do, probably throw this. See, you got the flat bottom right there. So I want to put this side on the bottom, although it does have a little curve on there. So I think it might be best. Sorry, is trying to get flat on the bottom there. Something like that. See right there, that's pretty stable. So I just like to provide another little spot in there. And then the last thing that I'll add on is another plant. Now I just have to go grab that, so I'll be back. Okay, I got the last plant. Same as the other one. This one hand. Let's see. Probably put it, thinking maybe right there. Obviously you can move this around if you don't like it, but that way it also gives this little cork tube some more stabilization, so it doesn't fall over or anything. That's pretty much going to hold it in place right there. Put that in there. This should be good right there. All right, perfect. So I have one side of the enclosure. It has all the spots he can hang out, you know, hide in, climb up and down. And then the other side, about 50% of it is open space. This is just for a single male. This is going to be different if it's a breeding pair, but this is just for a single gecko. So that's why I leave that open space. And then also, whenever I put their food in, I'll try to find a spot that isn't, I'm not going to put the food like right here or anything. I'm not going to put it out in the open. I'm going to put it probably, if I have a little bowl, either right here, or if you have a, like a holder that suctions on, I'd probably, if it was me, I'd probably put it like right there. So that way he has something perfect, elevated off the ground that he can go right onto it. And then I would put it on the ground right here, so that way he can perfectly just come down head first and eat it from there, instead of out in the open, you know, kind of like a dog bowl or something like that. Last thing to do is just add the gecko. This boy's name is Magma. I did a video on him probably like a week or two ago about him being a new pickup. So he is from Tiki's Deadpool. And he is going to be a breeder of mine. And this is his enclosure. I like to quarantine them so they're in a smaller enclosure whenever I receive them. Now he's been settled in, he's eating. So I know he's gaining weight. That's what I like to see. That's how I know, you know, they're doing all right. So I'm gonna throw him in here. Hopefully he doesn't spaz out or anything. So all I'm gonna do, let me coerce him a little bit. There you go. So there's size reference for how big he is compared to the enclosure. So this is gonna be his permanent adult enclosure. He's gonna live out his days in here, unless I ever switch him over to, you know, something different, like a bioactive or anything like that. But this is the easiest way to set up an adult enclosure. If you want more of a display, you know, you can do the same thing, but just in a glass enclosure or PVC, you know, front opening enclosure. This is how I do it. That saves me room. They're easy. I like the plastic because it's easy to move around. You know, if I gotta switch it, I can hold all this up with one hand. You know, you can't do that with a glass enclosure. So it's easy if you want to move it around or, you know, have to do anything like that. And it's cost effective as well. So that way I can make sure, you know, if I have geckos coming in, it's easy to run to the store. I always keep some extra plants and cork bark and that type of stuff. It's easy to run in the store. Use a solder for plastic to just melt these holes in there. I don't use drilling because it seems to crack it. Maybe I'll give a video building one of these. And then I get these vents right here. I recently switched to these. I really like them. They're super easy. They're cheap. And it really helps with the ventilation instead of a bunch of holes, you know, big open spot. And then I could put the spray bottle right up to this at night and then just spray them without having to open it up or anything like that. So maybe I'll do a little tutorial on how to build these. But this is how I set them up on the inside with, you know, everything in there. This is good enough for one adult gargoyle to keep them happy and to make them feel secure and, you know, give them a good life. So thanks for watching.